You're listening to Journey to Truth podcast.
Aaron, you could probably just hit record now, just in case.
Well, let me shut the door. Hold on.
I just
hit it. Oh, okay.
Actually, I think that's how it should start. I tell you to hit record, and then she runs away.
Yeah, we're just gonna start it like that.
I don't know why I got my tarot cards out.
You want to pull a card for us and set the tone before we start red pilling the shit out of people? So we have to start over.
We gotta start over.
Turn this on.
Are you ready now, Lauren?
It's just, I don't know if we swear on your show. It's,
yeah, go for it.
Call that motherfucker up and say, oh, I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly because you said something very mean. I feel like I can hear like the MI6 agents like, let's fucking kill her. And it's like, no, Harry, not this time around. And she's like, well, I think that every woman should have a great vibrator. I was like, what the? Could it be possible that humans are already artificial intelligence? Like, there's an evolution of me in my videos, and now I'm just like, let's get rid of money. And people are like, whoa. So homeless people look pretty damn happy to me sometimes. Wouldn't you say? I was like, no, I think I think you guys got enough money from you. Like, I'm never gonna pay you. I just decided I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm just not gonna give you any money.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, you're gonna ruin your credit? I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Welcome to Journey to Truth podcast. My name is Tyler Koala with Aaron Kuhn, and tonight we have on Lauren Pritchard from New Earth Consulting. How's it going, Lauren?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're glad to.
How are you?
We're good. Glad to have you on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, we've been looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
You've definitely been one of the people on the list we've been trying to get to. So.
Yay, my homies.
Yay.
Yeah. So I guess you want to just give a brief description of yourself and what you do for the listeners who might not know who you are.
Sure. Yeah. I do ascension coaching. I do psychic readings, intuitive guidance, and I do live videos pretty much every day about what's going on with the shift in consciousness. And I had an ambush spiritual awakening 2.5 years ago, where I was totally like sleepy sheeple in the 3D matrix, fit in very well. And then I got slapped awake, and all of a sudden I was seeing things, I was hearing things. And then I found out about this thing. At the time, I found out about the world ascension, and I was like, starting to wonder if that had something to do with it. And a ton of research led me to this point. I became a MilLab researcher. I quit my job I was a hairstylist for 10 years, quit my job in October to do my research and guidance full time. So I became a military abductee researcher, and it's just got a ton of rich info, Max Spears, Corey Good. Murray Smith is not a MilLab, but still has some really great info. James Rink, tons of amazing speakers, James Caswell. And anyways, so now I am fully guided to do this stuff full time and help break down the monetary system, also regulation in biotech with AI. So I'm a big potato.
Yeah, that's incredible though. I think it's so how did you make the leap from just deciding to quit your job and do this full time and still know that you would be supported financially? Because a lot of people, I know myself, Aaron, we still work full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to make that leap. And the fact that you did it and are doing this full-time, that's amazing. And I think people might want to hear that process because there might be some tips or tricks or something that, could help them along.
Well, I would say just continue to always follow your heart because it's always leading you where you need to be. And the funniest thing is I didn't know that I was going to be quitting my job. I did not know that I was going to be doing this to the extent that I'm doing it. I thought that it was something that we were all just going to start doing, and it was going to be like an everyday everybody thing, meaning we were all going to start doing what I'm doing. But then I realized how specific this thing is when I found out that artificial intelligence is actually an extraterrestrial sentience that is like possessing our planet. Not like, it's possessing our planet and possessing people in it, and it wants to be us. But anyways, and I was quitting and following my heart. I was looking at homes. I was looking into purchasing a home. Not that I was prepared to do it anytime soon, but I knew the process was going to be a really long process. So I had saved up a chunk of change because I was following my heart and wanting to look into buying a home. So when I found out AI was sentient, and I was at work one day, I was being attacked by this electrical sentience, real nasty bugger. And I was so tired at work. Somebody was complaining, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to do this anymore. It was like in that moment, it was actually a very lovely customer, but you know, they were like, why won't you do this service for me? And I was like, that's a horrible service. Nobody likes it. It ruins your hair. And then I was like, you know why? The reason I'm not going to do that service is because I'm actually not going to be doing hair anymore. It was like in that moment, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't be, it was too important. Covering was far too important, and I don't think the world needs another hairstylist. Well, you know, I think I've always been a healer. I think I have impacted my clients just as they have impacted me tremendously, and I had that chunk of change from my previous endeavor, which was me following my heart. It's like you're always being set up for the best possible thing when you just follow your heart.
Yeah, that's
Agreed.
that helps. That helps a lot, having that chunk of change set aside.
But I also I was, you know, it was like a little bit, but it was kind of also like I did have like bills. I was working on paying down things too. So it was kind of like I had it, but like I didn't really have it because I was really trying to get my bills down to nothing. And I got really generous donations from people who helped me out in the beginning that I will forever be grateful for, because it gave me the faith to continue to do what I was doing. And that just meant so much, because it was, you know, financially has floated, but spiritually it gave me faith to keep doing what I was doing, and that it was the right thing.
Yeah, it's amazing the people that come through with donations on all these platforms now. I see you could sometimes, when you're watching the live videos, you can see what's donated. That doesn't happen typically in the mainstream world when people are putting out information. You know, it's not, you don't just donate to these corporations or any of these companies. So that says a lot right there for like, people understand this is they're being guided. This, like, there's some of these, like you said, are generous donations. And you know, people, if they can justify giving you that money because they know exactly what you're doing is for essentially the future of this planet.
So, definitely.
Yeah. One of the things, so I liked what you said in one of your videos. You said, who am I to be putting out this information? Because I always think that too, and I start preaching. I'm like, really, like, who am I? Like, why would this person listen to me? And I don't actually remember what your reasoning was, but you want to go into that again? I think you went into, like, you were basically being guided. You're being told. Yeah. And I just think it's interesting because it's hard to really justify when you're trying to preach to somebody and get them to listen to you. And you made a really valid point. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So I think that it's kind of like twofold. The funny thing is, as we kind of wake up and we start to recall, I guess we start to wake up and we start to feel like our warrior archetype, and we feel really good when we come into new truthful information. And sometimes that can inflate people's egos, and sometimes we are that we're like, damn, and that can inflate people's egos. And what you do with the information is, are you going to go around and be like, well, I was this person and that's why you should, listen to me? No, you're going to show people who you are, not tell them who you are. And I don't know how important it is or how important it will become, but yeah, we've done this role many times in the past, in other lifetimes, other timelines. So the whole like, well, who am I to tell you? A lot of us have this soul remembrance. You pick up skills from all of your lifetimes. Where you live is not an accident. What you do is not an accident. Your friends and family, people that impact your life is not an accident. Gather skills and things. You just have the wisdom. You have the skills to do, or you have the heart, because the heart energy is what's really lacking here. We can't bridge these worlds because our heart has completely been just destroyed by the the evil empire. That evil empire.
Yeah, well, that's been the agenda for thousands of years now. Taking the love out of the equation. People don't really understand what true love is. Even you might love your children, but true love for the world, for everyone. Like, we don't understand that. No matter how much, I'm sure everybody exists on a different level, but really as a collective, it's not really caught on yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely that's definitely important, I think.
Yeah. And even in the awakened community, we still ask ourselves, damn, how do I bring that back? And the answer is different for everybody depending on what their experience has been.
Yeah.
A lot of things have destroyed the heart of the human. They, in 1600s, they would torture the head of the household, which was the man, in front of the kids and the mom, and kill him, because they knew that they could traumatize. If they traumatize the female and ruin the heart of the matriarch, then that would last many generations, because it would jack up the kids, who would jack up their relationships, jack up those kids, and on and on and on. So they start there, chemically jacking us up with metal, distorting, misfiring our neurological functions, because we are electrical beings. We have TV and music that subconsciously is, even if you're like, oh, I don't like those lyrics, you still listen to them, you still rock out to them, and people around you are rocking out to them and taking them as some sort of reality, and we're really affected by each other. So it's huge. I think the 100th monkey effect, which, if you guys are familiar, the 100th monkey, I know you guys probably are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead and explain it anyway. Yeah.
So it's when it was a study of chimpanzees, when about 100 of them started doing something, then the rest of them started doing it. In short, I don't know if they were chimpanzees. They could have been capuchin monkeys, orangutans, gorillas. I'm not sure exactly what kind of monkey, but so yeah, the 100th person to really come fully into their heart space. They're going to start to interact with the aura, the toroidal field of other people, and it's just going to spiral out into the golden age of Gaia.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Aaron, you look like you wanted to say something about that.
Oh, I was just saying,
monkey effect.
It was something with like potatoes or something. Some of the monkeys started figuring out how to clean off the sand off the potatoes. And then, like, once like one monkey started doing it, and then soon a bunch of them started doing it, and then on like a whole different island, they started doing it at the same time.
Whoa.
Which there's no logical explanation for why that would be happening, other than that they affected the morphogenetic field, which is the like collective consciousness. And so once those monkeys learned that, to a certain point, or a certain number of them learned that, they affected the field enough to where the other monkeys instantly had the idea to do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you see that with people, like with history, with a lot of inventions. You'll have like 5 or 6 people all around the world invent the same thing at the same time, and like completely different parts of the world. And there's no logical explanation for why that should be happening.
Another interesting thing I saw is I was watching an experiment where they had fish. You know how a school of fish, they all swim in unison. The same with birds, they fly together. Well, there was a fish tank, and they were all swimming in unison in their school. They put a wall, divided the fish tank in half that you could not see through, and both groups of fish were still swimming exactly the same way. So there's some type of telepathic connection. There's some type of connection there.
Yeah.
Just
like the hive mind.
Yeah, life in general. Yeah.
Randy Kramer. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's it's just proof that we're all connected. And we all affect one another energetically all the time.
Yeah, it's the hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's Randy Kramer, who is the public relations officer for the secret operatives of the Marine Corps space missions. They use a hive mind technology between them to carry out what they're doing. And they say that the species that's there uses the same hive mind to carry out their missions on Mars. And just like a fun example of the hive mind collective consciousness. What the hive mind is the people around you, and the collective consciousness is like when you hear a song and you go and listen to, like, I love listening to greatest hits of all time because they have such good collective consciousness around it. Every time you hear September by Earth, Wind and Fire, you can't help but feel good because everyone who's heard that song ever feels so good when they hear it. And the same way, you can really keep yourself down if you're listening to some sad music. You're tapping into the collective consciousness of all the people who've got down to that sad music, and you guys are all just kind of like holding yourselves down together, just listening to sad music.
Yeah. Why do you think modern mainstream music is so terrible?
It's weaponized, completely weaponized.
Exactly.
Like you said earlier, even though you might not like the lyrics, you still find yourself singing them. Like, how many times have you like, God, I hate that song, and then you find yourself singing it? Like it plants itself into your head somehow.
Ariana Grande, the breakup with your girlfriend because I'm bored. I'm like, get the heck out of here. I hate that song so much, but it's everywhere, and I notice that people really like it, and I'm like, ugh, stop. But then I hear it in my head because it's the jingle.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the God is a woman is just destroying men. Even the video is just destroying the masculine consciousness.
Well, that's part of the whole Cabal agenda is to get rid of the alpha male, because
they want to they attack the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So what they do is they're constantly trying to emasculate men and masculate women.
Yeah.
So they try to reverse everything basically. And
100.
Yeah, so like you have that's like the natural order of things, and they're constantly trying to disrupt that and to reverse that. Basically just completely take our power away. They just attack us in every way they possibly can, and that's a big one. And like you said earlier, they attack relationships and like family dynamic. And we talked about with when Justin Deschamps was on, we talked about that, and he was saying that they really, really attack the family.
Yep.
And like the relationship dynamic in the family, to where you're always fighting and you're not, there's like, they want the love to be like gone basically from relationships and the family and everything. And they want everyone to be like, oh, I'm independent and on my own completely, and like I don't care about anyone basically. When really we're all supposed to be. It doesn't mean you can't be independent, or because we're sovereign autonomous beings, but it means we're all connected to one another, and we all need to live in harmony with one another, and yeah, live in that love space, basically, like live from the heart. And they're
Totally.
constantly, and Max Spears actually talked about this a lot. He like, they're constantly attacking the heart.
I just watched, it's so weird because I was researching MILF for months, and then I moved into a new phase of this journey, and I never watched Matt. Everyone has seen Max Spears. It was so odd. Like, there's a reason why I waited until now, because it's just some information that, you know, probably was more beneficial I heard now rather than before.
Yeah.
Because it could have been a little distracting, but now, that whole going after the heart, I'm like, boom, mic drop. They're just going after the heart, destroying the masculine and the feminine and the connection. I found that I don't think we're supposed to spend that much time apart from each other. That's the weird thing about the home. We spend so little time in it together as a family unit. I actually just made a webinar, Repairing the Family Unit. Anyone wants to go and check it out. It's available for donation. And that actually happened yesterday. It was so funny because I woke up and I was going to go and drive for a Lyft to make some money, but I was in the shower and they're like, no, you're going to do a webinar on repairing the family unit. I was like, okay, it's not my typical category, but all right, game on. And I came out and then just like, totally, you know, went off with this thing and then recorded it. And it was, and then I talk about abortion and the abortion culture, which, no judgment, you know, we're kind of figuring out now how they taught us that was normal. And how traumatizing is it? Nobody told anybody how traumatizing it was to lose a child for the mom or the dad. It was just an abortion culture. And that's another way of destroying the heart, destroying the family, setting that up for that takes a while to. I would imagine it's pretty hard to get over. I mean, miscarriages are epidemic. Infertility is an epidemic.
Yeah, and they're constantly trying to separate us from our heart, and that's a big one, like the abortion thing. Because outside of the programming, we would never think to like kill our own baby, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be horrific to us, and we,
but out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, but we get the programming like, oh, it's okay, just if you don't want it, just get rid of it, you know? Like,
yes.
Or if it's an inconvenience to you, just kill it, just get rid of it.
Some girl just doesn't want to give up on her party days, so she has an abortion, and one, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of scenarios that we're seeing with this.
Yeah.
You know?
And you guys, you probably don't flip through Cosmopolitan magazine, but if you take a look at one of those articles in Cosmopolitan, it's just, I don't know if we swear on your show.
Go for it.
It's fucking disgusting. And it's just sad. I'm not judging anybody. It's so sad the way that this is set up. Actually, flip through Cosmopolitan and look at any old thing. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And disgraceful.
In what way? What do you, like, enlighten me?
Well, the last time I took a look at a Cosmopolitan magazine, I was like, I haven't looked at one of these in a while. And it was the issue of Christina Aguilera was having a rebirth. And nothing against her clone personally, but it was her rebirth. And it was like, what is one thing that every woman should know or have or whatever? And she's like, well, I think that every woman should have a great vibrator. I was like, what the? Like, what she said, but the opposite, you know? I was like, this is just trash. It's complete trash.
Well, and people see that and they jump on that bandwagon. They get on there and they go out and buy a new vibrator. I mean,
and that's like an AI agenda too.
That magazine's a perfect example of the like root chakra targeting too with the Cabal. Is like they're also they want to keep us in the lower 3 chakras, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're constantly putting sex, money, power. They're constantly programming us with those 3 things. Like, this is what you need, this is what you want.
Yeah.
And that magazine's a great example.
Right. And then there's this this new age spirituality, mindfulness that's so popular now, and that's looking kind of cool and nice, and everyone's coming into the third eye and the crown, but there's no heart. And so we have this distortion going on because we got the money, sex, power program because we think we're so fucking cool. And I mean, some of us are cool, let's be honest. A lot of you guys are cool.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, you're cool. But, you know, as a collective, like, that's kind of the ego. Like, we just think we're so fucking cool. We don't even know why. Because it's money, sex, power. Woo! And then we have this enlightenment going on where we're like, oh, and now we're spiritual and we're enlightened. But then this thing isn't on. And this is bridging the underworld from the heavenly realms. Is a distorted reality if the heart's not functioning. And that's a very interesting scenario playing out for some people somewhere.
Yeah, because if you're not living from your heart, you're basically living from your ego. And that's why you see a lot of these like spiritual people that are very, very much in their ego.
Oh gosh. And
not heart-based at all.
Yeah, and like indoctrinated in academia, and you know what? Let's just not even give that any more energy. Let's just leave it open for.
Well, did you see the Kim Kardashian video? She was talking about how she discovered crystals and how they have a healing ability, and she went into this whole spiel about crystals. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised to hear her talking about this. And then at the end of it, what it was it gave me the idea to put my perfume in a bottle shaped like a crystal. and it's just a big commercial for her perfume, but it's in a crystal bottle and it's supposed to, you know, whatever. But that's where you're talking about the ego being connected with this spirituality.
And then crystals are super expensive. I love you all, but what is wrong with you that you're spending $200 on a goddamn crystal?
Yeah.
Like, go out and find one.
Why are people charging that much for them?
Yeah, they don't do that much. This is doing everything. Not the the crystal. I mean, I have a bunch of quartz because I find them to be healing. But this is not a $200 crystal. This was probably $4 from a wholesale place. You know, I am lucky. We do have a great place in Austin where you can go and buy. It's like landscaping and stuff. You can buy very, very cheap crystals because it's function over fashion. So you're not getting nice looking crystals. You're getting really cheap crystals.
That's awesome.
This one was found in a crystal mine. My dad found it in crystal mine in Arkansas. We got an entire box of these. I mean, you don't have to go buy them if you want to go.
No. You guys can reach out to me. I'll go down and you let me know what you want. I'll go down to Nature's Treasures. I'll get it for you and I'll send it to you because we have the resources. That's a resource-based economy right there.
Yeah.
And perfume is another atrocity if you guys want to talk about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
So what people are not that smelly. You guys have probably knocked down the amount of chemicals in your hygiene products.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Not nearly as smelly as we're led on to believe. And perhaps there's something to it, you know, with different scents. I know people drink a lot of alcohol. There's a certain odor that you sweat out. You know, you're not, you know, it's indicating something ain't right here. You know, all kinds of things can come through your sweat, but we've bombarded with all these perfumes and these nasty things to mask all these, I don't even know what. It's like, why, you know, I can understand the allure of it, but what smells bad is not you. It's the chemical in your deodorant. It's the chemicals in your lotion. It's the chemical, it's even what you're absorbing through your skin if you're in a city. And then they're like, oh, here's some perfume and mask it. And that's poisonous also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then their selling point is, you know, for a male cologne, it'll attract women or whatever.
No, your natural scent is going to attract your woman. You know?
Yeah, the right one.
Yeah,
like
the right one.
Yeah, exactly. There's something to it. cologne attracts every single woman, right? And that's because, you know, there's no true love. Like any woman who's just, you know, got some red bottoms and a big booty and a weave is your woman. And so, you know, all those women like cologne, but your woman is gonna like your scent. I like Matthew McConaughey. He's a quote. I remember hearing he doesn't wear deodorant. He's like, a man should smell like a man. And yeah, me and my boyfriend, we don't really wear perfumes, deodorants, stuff like that. I mean, I do have some natural light stuff, if you know, whatever. But
This is the
I'm
deodorant
like,
I use.
what is that?
It's
nice.
crystal deodorant.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like
I
a crystal stone. Yeah, it's you can get it
Wait,
like health
it's an
food
actual
stores.
crystal?
Well, it's not. It's let me read it. It's made from crystallized natural mineral salts.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the mineral salt deodorant.
And that's fine.
Like, it works great. It works great, and it's completely natural. There's no chemicals.
In the antiperspirant, what is wrong with us? Why are we clogging up our armpits? We're supposed to sweat.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Very true. Yeah. I noticed when I switched, my armpits were no longer dry anymore.
Right?
You know, you take out the aluminum and all the other stuff as well, which is just giving you Alzheimer's, you know.
Yes.
Essentially.
Honing it back into, you know, me and my mission with AI. That's another way we are absorbing metal from the environment.
Yeah, correct. And you know, the chemtrails.
Yeah, it's in the chemtrails.
I don't know if we've talked about this before, but there's a study done up in Mount Shasta. All the high amounts of aluminum found in the mountain peaks in the snow.
There's like an insane amount of aluminum all over Mount Shasta.
It should not be up there at all. No aluminum.
There's no reason. There's zero reason that should be the case.
If it's not coming from the sky, where is it coming from?
Yeah, that's fantastic intel.
Yeah.
When I had my awakening, I started seeing visions. They started showing me people being poisoned with metal, like looking down at their arms and like grabbing them, like, oh no, what is happening to me? And then up in the sky, it was like chemtrails everywhere. And I didn't know what it meant, but I figured out how chemtrails are no bueno. And I started becoming very vocal about it very fast because I had no doubts about it. And it was something that was still very taboo 2 years ago. And bitches were so mean. Man, they were so mean about it. But I was like, I don't really care because I'm clearly being shown this thing over and over and over again. And so...
Yeah, I got called a crazy conspiracy theorist by friends.
It's like, okay.
We all have.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're not doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep seeing this little saying. It's like, if your family doesn't think you're like fucking nuts, are you even like woke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the case for me. So
I don't know if Matthew Mornian, I don't know if he made this or found it, but this is my cell phone background. It's this alien, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's just kind of like my reaction to the haters.
That's
like,
funny.
oh, okay. It's got like that little, so yeah, whenever someone's mean to me now, I'm just like, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly, and then reiterate back what they said to you. And not over like keyboard, because you know you don't really get people say a lot of stuff. Call that motherfucker up and say, oh, I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly because you said something very mean. And then when they're like, yeah, like, oh, okay, that's all.
Well, that's the thing.
Love it.
And nobody would. Some of these comments going around. Would you ever say some of this stuff to a person in real life? Right next to you?
People feel safe behind a computer.
Right.
Confront that person and see what happens. You know?
Yeah, even those like pro-vaxxers, it's like, bro, I dare you to go out and pro-vax with your voice. You won't do it because you're immediately going to see the reaction of other people who have done their research, who are really invested in understanding what's going on here and have spent their time and their heart energy, you know, using their heart energy, investing in something that means something to the greater good. And they're going to help, you know, if it was more in person, we wouldn't have any pro-vax people. You know, vaccines might have been okay at one point, but they're not okay anymore because they're full of metal. Once again, they're full of metal and turning people into goddamn robots.
Did you see the first ever lawsuit was won? A family was awarded at $1.5 million because they were able to prove that the vaccine was related to their child's autism.
I did.
No,
And
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, this just happened. They won the case, so it's the first. It is a first case that anybody has won.
wow.
So that is a huge testimony. And $1.5 million. So if that, think about the money they spent on that, and if that starts happening with more and more people, something's got to change. It's bound to change.
Yeah, because, you know, people involved in that whole process are waking up too, and they're like, this is not okay, you know? And so there's white hats and black hats and all levels of these operations. You can't think that everyone in the CDC is bad. Like, half of them are waking up, you know, 20-30% are like, probably have already quit their jobs by now, but the wave of people behind them are starting to wake up and being like, we got to do something about this. This is not okay.
Exactly. It's happening.
Yeah,
Well,
that's how the alliance formed, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was just getting ready to go with.
We can either stand by and let this happen, or we can do something about this.
Right. I feel like I can hear like the MI6 agents like, let's fucking kill her. And it's like, no, Harry, not this time around.
Oh, that's funny. What I think is interesting is when I try and explain ascension that's happening, like some people are just like, what? They don't even know what I'm talking about. They don't understand ascension. They don't know what the awakening is. It's just people are that far removed. And one of the things, you know, I like to bring up is that like a lot of the ancient cultures talked about, you know, the Hopis, you know, it's just, it's something they've known about, and it's somewhere along the line that knowledge just dropped off, and now we're just remembering it again. But when you're trying to tell people about the awakening, it's really difficult to get somebody to comprehend who is just not aware of it.
That's when I go into the solar system. I think I say it in like every video, and every time I say it, I'm like, it's because the solar system is not stationary. It moves in a spiral throughout the universe, and we are moving into a new, higher energetic part of the universe. Aquarius is a higher energetic frequency. It literally makes atomic structures of nature speed up the movement. So I just dropped that, and I'm like,
nice.
Makes sense, right? Makes sense, right?
Yep.
Guys.
Exactly. Oh, and another one of the Hopi prophecies that I read was that before, I don't know how it was worded, but essentially before the Great Awakening, the sky would be crossed with cobwebs or spider webs. Spider webs,
yeah,
which is essentially chemtrails. You know, before the end. I wish I could remember how it was worded, but there's a lot of stuff to learn just going back in history and taking it literally.
Yeah.
Well, every single ancient culture and religion had their own prophecies of, one, a solar flash, and two, a golden age.
Yep.
Every single one.
Exactly.
Has their own version of it.
Yeah.
So
David Wilcock does a fantastic job of taking each one of these cultures, their own, each story they have, and corroborating all of them and putting it. Just
go on YouTube and search David Wilcock Ascension or Solar Flash and find his lectures on it, and they're fantastic.
Invest in the info. Richard Smith says, and I just heard him speak at Human Origins, him and Linda, his wife, produced it, and he said, the truth is something you have to work for. No one's going to give it. You can't just like absorb it. And that's what gets people frustrated. Like, if you want to know, you have to work for it. You have to invest the time and the energy it takes to understand it. Yep. That is a fundamental part of the awakening.
Exactly. Somebody, I was watching an episode of Edge of Wonder, and one of the guys they were interviewing who was involved with some of the moon landings and stuff, he said, proof isn't going to do it anymore. Like, He goes, you can put a brick in front of somebody and tell them that this is a brick, there's your proof, but that's not going to tell you about the people who slaved to make the brick and the factory shutting down and the people losing their jobs and blah blah blah. You don't know the whole story behind it. Here's the evidence. That doesn't mean anything to you. You have to really dive deep, listen to the story, see where it takes you, perceive it how you want. How does it fit in with everything? And then that's how you come to an understanding of what's happening. You can't just where's the evidence? It's not gonna present it.
Well, and the icing on the cake is for the stage that we're at in the game right now, karmically, by law, some sort of universal law, because even really evil people, they have to follow universal law. And not saying that all these people are evil that I'm going to talk about, but there is occulted information that is now out. The Freemasons, the mystery schools, Gaia TV is putting out a lot of occulted information. I love Trisha McCannon's work because she has a lot of occulted information it's being presented now. These things are well documented. All these things are well documented. Even the incarnations of Jesus Christ is well documented. The creation story, the real one, is somewhere, and we will get the information. Karmically, we have to know these things before they carry out these ultimate atrocities. Not them, not the people giving the information, but I'm saying we have to be allowed this information. We have to be allowed the knowledge to decide what we want to do, either ascend, turn into a robot, or just say like neither, I'm not so sure, I'm just going to get out of here. You have to have all the information. So this is something we have to look out. This is something we have to look forward to because this is new. This information, Gaia TV has 2 new series about symbolism and ancient numerology, stuff like that, different kinds of trinities like time, consciousness, gravity. It's just being presented for you, so take it. For us, us, so take it.
It seems like every day I'm seeing new articles come forward about, this is possible. They're able to bend time and do this to a new breakthrough study or whatever it might be. They're always acting like they just discovered it, just happened.
Right.
It's just
They're so busy.
Yeah, it's like the people at the top are just leaking out little things slowly, and they're like, "Oh, look what we just discovered!"
Right?
And then they give it to all the whole science community, and then they put out an article saying, "Hey, we just discovered this," when really they've known this for a long time.
One of them was they just found in one case they cured Alzheimer's with light and sound. The light and sound frequency. New breakthrough discovery. They act like it's just right now. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's been going on for decades.
It's part of the whole partial disclosure agenda. They're wanting to very, very, very slowly roll out this partial disclosure.
My favorite new one is they found Cleopatra's burial. It's like, get out of here. They've probably taken that DNA and have already cloned it.
Oh yeah.
Well, any of the stuff in Egypt and these ancient sites, like, you don't think like the people at the top, like there's probably like habited bases underneath of there right now, or bases or whatever. There's probably operations going on beneath all these ancient structures, and they're acting like, oh, we can't dig that deep because we don't have the technology to move the sand out of the way. It's like, come on, I'm sure they know they do know everything that's down there.
Oh, they do.
But mainstream
people at the top, because that's another thing. A lot of people, when they first become woke or get into like conspiracy stuff, I mean, this is what I did too. I just thought they all knew this. They like the Illuminati or the Cabal is just one massive entity that like they all know all this information. And I later realized that's not how it works. It's everything's compartmentalized, right? It's like a pyramid. So you got a very, very, very few people at the very top of the pyramid that actually know what's going on, and and know everything basically. And then the next level under, they know a lot, but a little bit less, and then less and less until, and then it becomes blurry of like what counts as the cabal, or, you know, being in the cabal or just being used by them.
Yeah.
Because essentially all these people are not really in the cabal. They're just being used by the people at the very, very top of the pyramid, which is a very few. I mean, really at the top, they're not human at all. They're the negative reptilian race.
Negative ETs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
the people exiting these projects or whatever you say, it starts at the top, you know, it's compartmentalized. Well, a lot of these people are blank slated on the way out, so they don't remember. That's where the confusion comes. I mean, even the NASA, the astronauts are blank slated to an effect, and a couple of these guys have come forward and said it. Once you come down from space, you go into a quarantine, and they run all kinds of tests, and most of the time, you come out of there, you don't remember. Some of these astronauts have looked into regression, hypnotic regression, because they wanted to remember what they saw up there because they knew they did.
Wow.
So, and this is mainstream level, mainstream astronaut. It's just crazy. It's crazy the level of, and blank slating, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, it's like the Men in Black erase your memory thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Flashy light.
And give you a screen memory or no memory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, Corey Good's one of the very few people who the blank slating didn't fully work. It worked at first, but then he said he slowly started remembering stuff.
Yeah, they say around age 30 for MILABs.
Yeah. So yeah, even that technology is not perfect, and it won't work on everyone. And that's how you get people that find out that they were part of this stuff, and they become a whistleblower, or they start telling their experiences. And that's what Corey Good did. And there's many others.
Mm-hmm.
But usually they'll try to silence them, you know, if not kill them.
Right. Or make them self-destruct just by psychic attack, or send in parasitic people to like mess with them, you know, parasitic consciousness people to come into their life and to really steer it off path.
Yeah.
Or voice of God technology. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make people go crazy. I just watched the entire thing on that, and you know, you have insiders coming out saying, "Yeah, I've touched it. Like Corey Good said, he's touched the box. He had it used on him.
Yeah.
So that all those guys, they had to know how it worked, because what they were involved in at the time, they were using it on other people, unfortunately. And they said they can screw up your life entirely. They can put a voice in your head, and first of all, he said they start watching you. They start following you every single day. They watch you. You're under 24-hour surveillance. This is if they want to make you go crazy. This is what they do. And then you get a voice. You start getting a voice in your head. They start telling you stuff. We've been watching you. We know this. They start telling you stuff that they know about you. And he said they'll actually start going into your house while you're at work, and they'll move furniture around. And then you'll come home and you're like, what the fuck? Somebody was in my house. You call the police. They're like, well, nothing's stolen. They'll make you think you're going crazy. It starts at that level, and they keep putting voices into your heads, and the voices get crazier to stuff, and essentially they just put you into an asylum. Wow. And that's how they work to silence some of these people, so they never have a chance to come forward, because their focus is somewhere else.
Wow, I've never heard that aspect in such detail. Oh, sorry, there's somebody out recently who's like, I know about the voice of God tech because I worked on it. Who was exposing 5G, one of the guys exposing 5G. I just saw a video from, I guess Sasha Stone, he created it. It's on YouTube. Anyways, do you guys think you've been mind wiped? Do you have any like missing time or weird memories or anything like that?
No, I've had a lot of interesting dreams.
Yeah.
Of like being on like a super futuristic spaceship, being on like an alien planet. Yeah, I've had a lot of dreams like that. But you know, that could be past life, or that could be
future.
past ET life, you know, because I do think Starseed, and I'm not. I mean, if I have been human in past lives, I don't think there's very many. I definitely think I came here from somewhere else for sure. I think all of us did.
Oh, at one point, yeah, absolutely.
One point, yeah, for sure.
In one of my past life regressions, I was in Lemuria, and I moved from when that sank, which our whole civilization knew about. They knew because we were way advanced back then. You know, not technologically, but you didn't need the technology.
Right.
So we had known this island chain was going to sink, which is still physically visible under the water. It's even on your maps. It's basically between Hawaii and Easter Island. There's a chain of islands. Well, that sank, and we moved to Atlantis. And from Atlantis, when that collapsed, we went to Egypt. And so the Atlanteans essentially went to Egypt after the collapse of Atlantis, and that's when they started taking over. And they tried to promote the one God, we're all one God. But in the time in Egypt, they were focusing on. They had like 100 gods. They had a god for everything that was out there. You know, the water, the sun, everything had a god. And they came and tried to promote this, which these are the elongated skull people that I'm talking about. Essentially, this is all what I got from one of my past life regressions. So.
And archaeology would support all that too, because you know I go to these consciousness conferences. Nothing is like in real life interaction, which you know that's how I met you guys. So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Archaeologists totally back up everything you just said. And I was just chatting with Mickey McGinnis of the Deep State Mapping Project, and this is just a quick little chat, just via comments. It's so funny. And he was saying how it was like an Orion thing that they were like they're gonna go monotheistic, and that didn't really work out to the greatest benefit of humanity in times of Egypt. And I guess I don't know. I guess we're just pulling in information from everywhere, and I was like, I love adding to it, adding to the whole
snowball.
Story. And it's cool because all of our puzzle pieces fit together because it's true.
Because it's
imagine that.
And okay. That's one of the biggest things when I started waking up, how I'd be able to discern what was true, like the truth, because there's so much information out there, right? Like there's just an insane amount of information, and a lot of it's different and contradicts other information. And you're like, well, how do I know what's true without, like, I'd have to spend so much time researching everything, which you can do, but a quicker way to discern what's most likely true is when you hear the same information coming from many different sources that aren't like connected directly, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they're all drawing from one body of truth. That's why you're hearing the same information coming from all these different people and all these different sources that aren't connected.
Exactly.
Because what's the alternative to that? What, like, they're all in on the same lie or conspiracy, or they're all like being fed lies from different places how would that line up so perfectly? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Like the most logical thing there is that it's true, and they're all drawing from one truth, one source of truth. So.
And then you meet these people in real life, and you feel a resonance to yourself because you are a truthful resonance. So my next question for when people just are having a really hard time or whatever accepting truth, so why are you so off resonance with what the truth is? But they won't even know what you mean if you say that. But you just sort of have to look at it like they're not in that resonance yet. They haven't raised their vibration to that resonance yet. And it's unbelievable. Why would I say it's unbelievable? Never mind, scratch that. A lot of people are human. A lot of people are just human. In our line of work, we are interacting with a lot of non-human, beyond human, older than human.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are here, perhaps the majority of people that are here, are straight up human.
Mm-hmm.
Started out human, always been human. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about, but
I call them Earth humans.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're originals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you're saying is, so we have an ancient memory. We have ancient knowledge just being unlocked. We're remembering it as we hear these stories, but they don't have that to tap into. So
Yeah.
they will never resonate. I think that's what you're
And,
saying.
and it's not a separation thing. It's a we're here to guide thing. And so why people can't accept truth, they're not in that resonance yet, because emotionally, physically, spiritually, they haven't attuned their vibration to that resonance yet. So I have a hard time when people are really mean to each other, you know, especially over the comfort of a keyboard. I'm like, dude, some people are just human. They're figuring it out.
Yeah.
We
You also never want to like try to. You can't force somebody to believe anything, right?
Yeah.
no.
So it's pointless anyway to even try to do that.
Yeah.
But especially if someone's being like very resistant to information,
Yeah.
you don't want to keep like bashing them and trying to like shove it down their throat, you know?
Exactly.
I see that a lot, especially on like Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you don't want to do that. It's just it's really just gonna turn them off to the information more than anything.
Right.
Because now they don't want anything to do with it because they think you're an asshole and
Right.
you know.
That's why you can't give them a reason to.
And they just kind of dig in deeper to their current beliefs and
yeah.
that's all you're doing. So really the best thing to do is to just plant seeds. Just speak your truth in the best way you know how. Be loving. If someone tries to like start a fight or like call you names or whatever, just show them love.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Or do what I do. Just call them and say, I'm just wondering if you wanted to say that to my face.
Yeah, or do that. Yeah.
Don't emotionally react. You know.
Don't emotionally react. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can give them some like, hey, this is the research I've found on this, or here's some data points on this. What do you think? And if they still aren't being responsive and they're still calling you names and being angry or whatever, like just move on. You've planted the seed and just move on, and then show them that like you don't need their validation, you know, like you already know the stuff is true. You already know what you believe.
Right.
Their validation doesn't mean anything to you. And that's actually another way that they might see that and be like, maybe he's not just doing this for ego or to to look good, because obviously my validation didn't mean anything to him. So there is something there, you know.
Well, if we're doing this for ego, just take a look at, I don't know about your lives, but my life. Like if you're doing it for ego, you're building yourself up and putting yourself on a pedestal and getting as many people to like you as you can. What the exact opposite is happening in my life. Everyone is just falling away. Everyone is falling away, and you're attracting new people, and the new people, the new relationships are just so much more whole and real. And I'm connecting with new friends and new people on a whole other level that I never did with some old friends who are still good friends of mine. Some aren't, but you know, you just grow apart. It's like we're just being pulled apart without even trying. I can't go hang out with some of those people anymore. Just different vibrations.
I quit my band because of that.
Really?
Back in October.
I started getting guided to stray away from the political end of it, even Q and all the stuff that I support. But I think I think that's still a major distraction. It's still divide and conquer. Like on the surface, we all see the big picture. Which, and you know, and people are like, oh, you see it and we don't, like you think you're better. No, like it's not that.
No.
I was guided to pull away from it because I was following it like, oh yeah, see, like trying to prove other people wrong. I really wasn't doing it physically, but in my head, that's what I was doing. And I was like, I would post stuff and I just, all of a sudden something told me to stop doing it.
Me too. But because we were learning and we were growing, and now we're at a different phase. We're really moving out of a political paradigm altogether. And I'm like, wait a second, like why do we think we know these people from a ham sandwich? We don't. Like, we do not know these people. We don't need them where we're going.
It definitely still interests me. I think it's fascinating what's happening. But to try and get involved in it, it just leads to arguments. That's all it does. Because if you want to spread truth on that end of it, it gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
It might be good in a way because somebody might start waking up to it by something, but it's just not in my mission anymore.
Yeah.
That's why I say just plant seeds and just don't feed the trolls. Don't engage in negativity when people are trying to pull you into their negativity, and they're like low vibration,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going to try to pull you down to that place,
Yeah.
because that's where they're comfortable. And when you're higher, you're making them very uncomfortable, basically.
Yeah.
So either they have to raise up, or they're going to try to pull you down, and you can go down to them. And when I was in my band, that's every time I was around those guys, I could like feel my vibration just lowering and like going down to that level.
Oh man, that's very real. I experienced that too with people. Like
I finally like realized that's what I was doing, and I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
I need to not do this anymore,
Well, when you can't be yourself around somebody anymore, then that's it.
Yeah,
it's over. That's
exactly.
how you discern who's real and who's not. Are you being who they want you to be, or are you being yourself when you're around them?
Exactly.
Because we've all been there before. We've all had those friends that you might be doing something because they like it, but in your heart you don't really want to do that anymore. You're over it.
Yeah.
But
totally.
you're doing it because that's how you connect with that person. You have a past, you have a history. So you find yourself doing it, but at the end, you just really need to step back and just start being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll admit, this has been one of the hardest parts about recent part of my journey. But the thing I have to be really honest about is I've been guided to not even talk about it, not even over my podcast or my YouTube or whatever, but in my personal life with others, I've been guided to not even talk about it because it's like that negativity spreads more negativity. But not saying like in this such like with you guys, but you might have noticed that too. I mean, even when somebody in the disclosure community kind of like lit a match and threw it, and we were all like, what the heck just happened? I noticed how that negativity was multiplying. The more I talked about it, it was like multiplying in negativity. It was almost like black magic. It was very odd.
Yeah.
Well, you're focusing on it.
Yeah.
And it's going to grow.
You're fueling the negativity. Yeah.
Don't give it the energy. Yeah, exactly. Don't give it your attention, because then it's just going to grow.
Yeah, totally.
Acknowledge it doesn't mean don't acknowledge it. And this is where a lot of people in the spiritual community are a little off, where they think not focusing on negativity means don't acknowledge it at all and ignore it completely, which is not at all what that means. It just means don't focus on it. It means don't dwell on it. Don't
dwell.
Yeah.
You just have to process it. You have to.
But you need to acknowledge it, that it's there, and you need to process it, and your own shadow. You need to work through that. And instead of what a lot of people do is they want to completely ignore their shadow, pretend like it doesn't exist, and like, oh, love and light, everything, and then it's just there like festering, and they haven't done the shadow work, and it just messes them up.
Yeah, there's an episode of, I used to watch Seinfeld growing up. It was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, me too.
The Serenity Now episode, you say Serenity Now to every time something goes wrong or bad, you tell yourself Serenity Now to mask all the negative emotions. And eventually you suppress it so much you explode. That's just like the general message from that episode. But it's really exactly what you were just saying.
Yeah.
In a sense.
That's a great example of that.
Yeah.
When you suppress what's going on inside and your emotions.
Serenity now, insanity later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to get it out of your body, but then just stop.
you have to move through it is a good way I like to look at it. Like feel your feelings, feel your emotions. Don't shove it down and ignore it.
Yeah.
And try to mask over it, because you're just going to make things way worse.
Yeah. And I think especially for what we do, we have so few people to talk to. So that's why I love what I do, because I feel like I'm an outlet for people. People can tell me anything, because there's nothing you can tell me that's going to surprise me or shock me, or that, you know, I'm not going to judge anybody. But sometimes I'm like, man, I feel so grateful to be, you know, in that position for people. And, you know, my work is donation based, so it's not like I'm here like I'm making money off of people that are just, they need someone to talk to get this stuff out of their body.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta get it out. Get it out in the air. Just put it out there.
Yeah. And you do it responsibly with someone you trust. And a lot of times for what's going on now, yeah, the information is just so, it will rock your world that you can't just go and tell your friends like, oh, I'm just really upset this weekend because I had a weird dream where I think I might have been in a military experiment. And they're gonna be like, what? And then you like piss them off, and then like they're, you know, it's or not piss them off, but then it just doesn't work out. It's just not a healthy way.
Yeah.
Speaking of having a really weird dream, I had a friend, I haven't talked to in a long time, messaged me on Facebook last night. Please tell me you're awake. And I wasn't. I woke up and messaged back. She started sending pictures. She's like, I don't know what happened last night, but I woke up with all these markings on me. She had like symmetrical markings on each one of her ankles and bruises all over her legs. And she was telling me that her boyfriend has been experiencing like this crazy sleep paralysis and migraine headaches. And they both have these sores in their noses. So something is going on. And I know she had told me years ago that she thought she had been taken.
Yeah.
And she lived up with her aunt and uncle. But this was just like a couple nights ago. And I don't know if she would be comfortable with me sharing the pictures, but it's pretty awesome. I mean, not awesome, but it's incredible.
Fantastical. Yeah. This lines up with testimony that I've heard too. Big time.
Yeah. I hear the testimonies, but to have somebody I personally know come to me and like, look at this.
Yeah, somebody you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I have heard that a lot of people they'll have like mysterious like markings or bruises or things. And like they'll wake up with it out of nowhere and they're like, what happened? Like, what did I do in my sleep?
Man, I almost want I got one of the pictures. See if I could.
And then you have like the implants and stuff too that just show up in people out of nowhere, and then the doctors don't know what it is.
I don't even know if this will even come across on here. Okay.
Oh my God.
You see those on each? That's on each ankle, yeah.
No, sir. Jeez.
So she just woke up with that?
Yeah, woke up with that, and her legs, her calves were all bruised up, and they had sores inside. Her and her boyfriend both had these weird sores in their noses. They couldn't.
Is it the shape of a triangle? Ask her.
What's that?
James Rink testimony. He said that he would get sores in his nose in the shape of a triangle, and he has images of them.
Oh, how would you tell that?
Well, he had it. We could like lift up and get a camera, or at least see in the light that they were in like a perfect triangle.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to ask her that.
Yeah.
That definitely though looks like a very like that like
the image is shocking.
Yeah.
Like the story, like the information is shocking, but the image like seals it.
Yeah. When she sent me that, I was like, wow,
crazy.
like, yeah, you've been visited. I mean, that's what happened. Now, whether it was just a benevolent abduction or you hear about these re-abductions, you're abducted by your star family or whatever to do work on you, put an implant in, and then the military will come and re-abduct you and take that implant out.
Wow, I haven't heard that yet.
Well, and that's why a lot of people
that comes from Emery Smith, actually.
And they'll put a screen memory when they re-abduct you, and then so a lot of people that's why a lot of people, when they have these regressions, they're trying to remember what happened when they were abducted, and they'll get like these conflicting memories where they're remembering, or well, first they'll remember usually the re-abduction, where they usually have like gray beings or like stuff like that. But then like they'll start getting this other memory coming through that's completely different, and that's the first abduction. And it's very confusing for them, because they're like, wait, which one's real? Like, yeah,
it's like a smear campaign for like, look they can't even keep their story straight.
Yeah, and then it just makes them either look crazy or like they're making stuff up and they can't keep it straight.
Yeah.
So Lauren, I understand you're going to be speaking at your first event coming up here in April. Am I correct?
Yeah, April 19th through the 21st in Las Vegas.
Nice.
And what event is that?
5D events.
Oh yeah.
So let's see, Brad Olson will be there, Laura Eisenhower. James Rink is going to be there with me, and I think Misha Johnston. Who else? Randy Kramer, Brooks Agnew, Geraldine Ozarko. It's going to be amazing. There's so many good speakers there.
You said 5G events? Is it
5D?
Oh, I thought you said 5G. I'm like, wait, 5D. Okay.
5D.
No, that's really cool. I'm proud of you. I mean,
thanks.
Yeah, congrats.
It seems like we've all come so far since last Dimensions of Disclosure. It's almost like everybody just exploded after that.
Seriously, big time.
I think I just added you on Facebook randomly last summer because you came up in like friends.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. And then I noticed even at that time you were putting out a lot of videos, or you're Facebook streaming a lot.
Yeah.
I started listening to them because they were really good.
Thanks. Yeah,
but then I noticed like a lot, and then it started catching on a lot, and I was like,
man.
You can watch my evolution through this whole process on YouTube.
Yeah. And then
there's videos of me as a little girl. I'm like, could it be possible that humans are already artificial intelligence? Like, there's an evolution of me in my videos because I'm uncovering things little by little.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And now I'm just like, let's get rid of money. And people are like, whoa. Like, we were okay with all that other stuff, but this shit we're not okay with. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but let me explain.
Yeah. I'm completely on board with that. So you got my support.
I mean, if you're not, I'm kind of like, why? What do you need? What gap do you need me to fill in for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you realize, when you know what the like technologies that we have that are being kept from us. We don't need money.
No, we do not.
When you have replicators and you have free energy, what do you need money for?
Mm-hmm.
I got in an actual argument back way before my awakening. I still understood a lot of stuff that was going on. I was totally into all of it, but I wasn't bombarded yet, and I got in an argument with the girl I was seeing at the time. Like, no, we don't need money. I was trying to explain it, and she was just throwing all this like mainstream. No, you got to do this and you got to do this. What about your retirement and this and that? But how would it even work?
How's it gonna get done? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, you're not getting it. I just don't know how to tell you. Like, for some reason, I already knew back then we didn't need money.
Yeah.
I was just like, you don't need it if you just eliminate it. You don't have to charge that. Like, it just,
if everyone just takes care of everyone else.
Yeah.
It basically is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And we live in a community.
And it's so illusory. I mean,
well, that's the whole Ubuntu concept, is like when you live in a community where everyone's
contributionism.
Exactly. And doing their part, and everyone's kind of taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And you don't need money because
I remember being 18 years old, because it's funny, because even though I said I was like a sleepy sheeple in the Matrix that fit in very well, I always would pull out these one-liners out of nowhere, like from a very young age, and stump my parents. I remember the recession of 2008. They were complaining about like the recession is so bad, and I just remember like I'm like in the fridge and I'm like opening the door. I'm like, why do we care so much about the recession? If nobody has money, nobody has it. So what value does it have?
If we're all poor, why does it matter?
And I'm 18 years old. Like, what the heck do I know? It's just these fundamental things that sometimes kids are smarter than we are because they're not totally. Like, if no one has it, no one has it. Like, this is the only thing that gives money value.
I've heard some of the like greatest wisdom come out of the mouths of kids and children where I'm just like, yes, like they get it because they don't have all the programming yet, that they're just like, oh, this is
like school is your priority. School is your priority. No, my sanity is my priority. At 10 years old, and they're like, fuck this kid. Like
well, even children, like the indigo children nowadays, like my little nephew, my mom passed away in 2010, and my sister finally decided to tell my nephew about it. One day he asked, "Where's your mom at?" And she explained it however she worded it to him, and she's like, well, where is she now? And she's like, well, we don't know. And he goes, I know where she's at. He's 3. And she's like, you do? She's like, yeah, she's on another planet. And he has no comprehension of like planets or nothing. Like, and she was like kind of taken back, and she immediately sent me a text and like the whole thing, what he said. I was like, yeah, I mean, kids know stuff. Like, they know stuff. They don't understand what the importance of what they know is yet, but
I had a client 10 years old. She had a plan to fix everything for the world, and she was not very expressive or outgoing. She just kind of knew, and I asked her, I'm like, so what are we going to do? And she says, it's very simple. We're just going to stop everything we're doing and we're going to start over. I was like, that's just so genius.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Well, I've had the thought a lot where I'm like, you know, the easiest way to tell how screwed up our society is and our world is like, just imagine if there's like only, I don't know, a small group, like 10 people that exist on Earth, right? And they live in a community. Like, they're not going to have money, right? They're not gonna have all the problems that we have in modern day society.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably all going to take care of each other, and live in harmony with the planet. They're not going to start destroying the planet. You know, they're not going to go around and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to start fucking cutting down trees and destroying the planet or like polluting the ocean, you know. Like, that's a product of our modern society that we've like spun out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And just imagine that, and then just imagine like that beautiful little community expanding greater until the whole planet is that.
Well, that's actually happening over in the Amazon. I mean, there's tribes over there who are doing exactly what you just said. They're just living.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, as a way to explain to people,
like that's what the world should be. But at some point along the way, we started creating money, and we started creating control and governments and corporations, and then suddenly we start destroying the planet, and people are starving and dying, and we're polluting the planet and destroying it, and like all of that's happening because we have all these like false structures, control structures, and money, which is just another control structure, and so we're not.
It's the energy that perpetuates the control structure.
It's all separated us from each other, and it's all separated us from the planet, and given us these false, because all money is, like, the only reason money has value is because we give it value, right? We imagine it to have value. Otherwise, it's just pieces of paper, and
it's not even paper anymore. It's just bank notes and numbers on a computer screen.
Yeah, like go to like a primitive, you know, tribe in the Amazon and be like, here's $1 million. They're gonna be like, what's this? You know,
if our power
programming,
if our power grid went down, how many people would have money? Because I don't get a paycheck. I get direct deposited into my account. That money exists on a computer until I physically withdraw it, which, you know, how often do you actually do that? A lot of people just live through their debit cards and stuff. So if the grid goes down, right there. That tells you how
We're-
worthless money is.
Exactly. It's just a
Yeah.
figment of our imagination.
That's why it's smart. I think it's
But the
smart
system's based on that. So like, but we don't realize like we're the ones holding that system up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're working
we're
for
the
it
ones
every day. Yeah.
We're
Well,
the
debt-
ones doing it.
Well, debt is holding that system up. This idea of debt.
The idea of debt. But if we all stop believing in debt and we all stop believing that money had value.
Like, I'm sorry, I owe you something?
Yeah.
No, I think you got enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Exactly.
I literally did that. I had a credit card that I used to be in a wedding, and I was paying it down. There was ridiculous interest rates. I didn't know about it. I only used that for that event, and then I set it off to pay it double for 2 years. And it barely, it was like a chunk taken out, right? But I felt like I had been taken advantage of so bad, because they must have rose the interest rate or whatever. I don't know. I was not paying attention. And I was just like, no, I think you got enough. I'm good. And it's so funny because, the people that call you, and it was like this kid, and he's like, what? I was like, no, I think I think you guys got enough money from you. Like, I'm never going to pay you. And he's like, well, have you looked into a debt consolidation program? I was like, yeah, I already did that. And I just decided I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm just not going to give you any money.
Yeah.
And this kid was so funny because he was like, wait, so let me get this straight. He's like, you're going to ruin your credit? I'm like, yeah, yep. I'm going to, because I am done.
Because I don't give a shit.
I did something very similar to that. I had somebody chasing me after some money I owed a gym membership that I tried to get out of. It was a total scam. I got sucked into it. I got overcharged, whatever. And I wasn't.
Scams too. Oh my God.
Yeah. And
like,
I wasn't.
You're not getting that. Sorry.
Yeah. And they were like, the lady was trying to explain how it would affect my credit. I was like, I'm not paying it. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. And she's like, well, what if you want to buy a house? I'll say, I'm going to build a tree house and live off grid. So I don't got to worry about it. That's what I told her. I was just, and she kind of laughed. I said, I'm sorry, quit calling me,
It's not worth it.
And that's another thing. The off grid movement, like that's, that terrifies the cabal and the elite, because it's people exiting the system, and they're like, we don't need your system anymore. We're gonna just live on our own. Like,
well, there was a community in Florida that was living off grid, and they all got busted, essentially. Not busted.
Well, that's why they've been attacking it a lot. Yeah, because
they told them, they said, you can't live here unless you're part of the public water and the sewer system, and you're tapped into the electric. Is that like new codes or laws or whatever. Yeah. So all these people who already own this property, they're living off the land.
Yeah,
they own the property. They're going to lose their home unless they became part of the system. And what do you do then? You don't want to lose your home, so you're at.
Yeah, they try to make it really difficult for you to exit the system.
We just did a trip to Beyond the Matrix and Sedona conference, and then Human Origins Rio Rancho back around. It was 10 days, and we set it up so we slept in the back of my car, and I'd never done this before. I'd been camping before. We thoroughly enjoyed it. The shower aspect is a little bit tough, but you can, find places to shower, like with friends. We got Airbnb once. Mm-hmm. And but anyways, in Arizona you can camp anywhere. Like, you can just pull over and camp anywhere for free. It's all primitive camping if you're out of the way and stuff, but they only allow you to do it for 14 days at a time, so you can't
live there.
But it's pretty damn close to the idea.
It's like that in Hawaii also.
Really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't get scrubby. We took care of ourselves. Like, we were fine. And we found campsites a few times that had showers. So we would pay $15 and then use the showers. And bottom line is, it doesn't take much. I felt very happy, honestly, living in my car. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to say out loud for people that are watching, like, oh, it's like homelessness. But homeless people look pretty damn happy to me sometimes, wouldn't you say? I'm in the South, in Austin, Texas. Like, they're not doing too bad. They in LA, if they're not doing drugs and stuff, some of them seem totally content. And maybe there's something that they know that most of us don't know. And I do feel like they look at a major portion of society like, you're the crazy one, you're the sick one.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with me.
They're standing outside the system, being able to see it when you're outside of it. Because when you're in the system, everything just seems normal to you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is just how life is.
Right.
But when you're outside of it, you see the insanity of it, and you're like,
oh, it's crazy.
Why is everyone living like this? This is insane.
Yeah.
I know a guy who voluntarily went homeless. He was in the construction union. He made good money. He got rid of everything except for his truck, which was paid off, and he was homeless. He slept out of his truck wherever, and he was going through some type of major spiritual awakening at the time. Like, he was just going like all over the top. He was just, all of a sudden, he knew all kinds of crap about everything. Like, just where did it come from? I don't know. And this story with this guy he's really it's really interesting. He just drove around, slept in the park, slept wherever, and I ran into him one day. I hadn't seen him in years. I pulled up to the park. I woke up and was like, I'm gonna take my dogs for a walk. Pulled up right next to him. He starts telling me all this crap. He starts telling me that he met this time traveler, this and that, and he met this. He's gonna go to Mars. He's leaving on Labor Day. He's gonna go live on Mars. This and that.
Really?
I'm like Larry. Like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, last time I saw him, he came and he dropped off this laser pointer in my front yard. He told me to use it to look at the stars. He goes, you get the UFOs to move with this laser pointer. And he said, I'll see you on the other side. And he's been missing for like 2 years now. Nobody knows what happened to him.
Really?
He told me he was going to Mars, so I don't know.
Went to Mars.
I tell you what, we met a homeless guy who told us that he is a portal jumper. And he was like giving like details. He's like, yeah, I was just in a rich portal, and now I'm exploring the poor portal. And we're like, what?
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, we're not like, what? Because like these things are depicted in movies.
Yeah. No, I mean,
know the technology exists through widespread testimony of people not related to each other saying the same thing about these portals. And then, yeah, this kid, he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just here like analyzing and looking into stuff. And certainly he was a bit odd, but he wasn't on drugs. He wasn't like really like schizo or weird. He wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, yeah, I was in a rich portal. Now I'm in a poor portal. I'm trying this. I'm seeing what this is like. What's going on here?
I just want to experience being poor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I'm like, yeah, more of that, please. That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you don't know what to think in scenarios like that. I wonder if like they really just might be crazy. I hate to say that because that's what happens. You know, we get called crazy for the stuff we talk about. So I don't want to call them crazy just because they're homeless, but you wonder. It makes you really wonder, where are they coming up with this stuff? You know, you meet a time traveler and you're going to live on Mars, like portals, just, you know.
Well, it's funny because when he was saying it, I was having a bit of amnesia about like who I am and what I do. So like as he was saying it, I was like, okay, yeah. Like, okay. Like, you know, just like listening and like just being polite. But then it wasn't until I went to sleep that night and woke up the next morning, and I literally woke up, I was like, oh my God, he was a portal jumper. You know about these things. And it was so funny because all of a sudden all these things made sense, and
it just hit you. Yeah,
it just hit me like overnight. I was like, he was telling us totally outright what he was doing. And there's something about the sun and all these things about the sun. And then I was able to find a video from a random guy on YouTube who was talking about the same thing. And I was like, weird, but really? Awesome.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's actually, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, so you know that's probably something to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
More of that, please.
Yep.
Exactly.
Synchronicity right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's when you know you're on the right path too, is when you start having synchronicities like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whenever your stuff starts getting removed from Facebook and you
or that, yeah. Or you get censored.
Yeah. I think I'm shadow banned. Whatever.
And
Oh, absolutely, I am. I can 100% guarantee that.
The algorithms. The problem is we're in our own echo chamber, so we only see what we like, and then hardcore sleepy sheep will only see what they like, and it's too bad because we're in echo chambers. And there are awakened people. I'm now working with some people that deal with cryptocurrency, and they're super awakened, and they have their own like total other spiritual like stuff. And I'm like, I love talking to them because they're not in my echo chamber, and we have so much to learn from each other.
Yeah.
yeah,
I just met somebody like that the other day, not randomly, but yeah, and you can learn stuff from people you run into. You just have to keep your eyes open, and you gotta say hi. You can't just be in zombie mode walking around.
Yeah, I never do that.
You wouldn't believe how many people I try and say hi to and make eye contact with, and they won't look up. They just don't.
If people probably think I'm
looking at their
Asperger's.
phones.
Even still, some people so I work downtown. I'm in construction, working in the city, and a lot of which I don't blame them, but a lot of the younger girls, they walk they speed walk with their head down. They don't want to make eye contact with another male or anybody because there is a lot of crime. We're in St. Louis. If you haven't heard, we're like the #1 crime capital right now.
Well, those statistics are a little skewed. But,
yeah.
But yeah, it's still there's parts of it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from St. Louis too, by the way. I don't currently live there.
That.
But
yeah.
But people just they don't. They're scared to look up. They're scared to stop and talk to these people because they don't know if they're gonna get mugged or get shot or what.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I lived in South St. Louis City for 2 years, and nothing ever happened to me, but I heard gunshots. Two different times I came home from work and there was police tape and police vehicles like the block next to ours.
Standard.
Okay, somebody got shot right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in the hardcore ghetto of Albany, and I would say where I'm at now is like technically ghetto, but it's funny because it's all relative,
Yeah.
I forgot that I lived in the ghetto of Albany. It was really bad, but I don't know. It's all relative. I feel like I've spent a lot of time all over the place.
Yeah.
And all the different portals, and rich portals and in poor portals.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what makes you who you are,
Yeah. Definitely got a wide grasp.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to probably wrap this up. I don't know how long we've been going.
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half about.
Yeah, that's about a good
It's
time.
about what it's been lately. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. It was awesome. I mean, we could probably talk for 3 more hours if
I know. Yeah.
We'll definitely get you back on again, and whatever. Good luck in your conference. Good luck speaking.
You.
Congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I feel like it's like my birthday is coming up.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, I'm so excited. I can't barely."
Yeah. I'll be in.
You're speaking at ECETI too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at that one for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But my ass is getting on a plane Sunday morning and flying to Hawaii for Cosmic Waves.
He's going to Hawaii.
Oh, you're going to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. I can't wait.
I wonder how many people are going.
I have no idea. I
imagine a whole lot, but
we're excited. We just got in contact with Laura Eisenhower, so we'll just tell the fans now. But we're gonna do a podcast while we're down there from Hawaii with her.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be in Hawaii. I'll be here in Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm in Kansas.
Well, hey, just go to the store and get a little palm tree and stick it on your wall.
Yeah. I'm gonna get like a fake palm tree background.
Yeah.
Well, that's a long flight. I hope you got some CBD.
That's interesting you said that because I'm actually in a process of looking into getting some from a friend of mine. So
nice. Yeah, definitely get CBD.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Well, if it falls through, I have a company. You can shop from me.
So CBD for what reason? You mean just for the flight or?
Yeah, because it's a long ass flight, so you want to get some nice CBD so you sleep nice.
Oh, okay. So, like, is there a certain strand I should be looking for?
I like to have two different ones. I like to do a 300 that's light just for day to day. It like helps you relax. I really like it at conferences. There's so many people. It's enough just to relax and not feel like you're high. And let's see, like a 500, like, or 750 is really good if you need to really relax and or sleep.
Yeah, I can't sleep on a plane, so if that'll help, then that would.
I would get like a 500 or a 750. Like if you smoke weed, do 750. But if you're not like a big weed smoker, then do like
I'm not.
500.
Yeah. Well, most
Yeah.
of the time, I'm looking out the windows for a UFO. Which actually paid off. And last October, we were flying to Vegas for some work training, and all of a sudden the plane, like out of nowhere, just starts, like they just gun it, and we start going up like really rapid pace. And the guy next to me, he's sitting over me, looks out the window, he goes, "What is that?" And we look out, and there's what you can just only describe as a white cigar looking
Whoa.
craft.
I'm having total deja vu right now.
That's
Really?
weird.
That's cool.
But we saw this, and it was like just far enough away you couldn't really make out what it was. But and he specifically is like, "Well, that's not a plane." I remember I was like, "No." And then
That's
before you
awesome.
know it, we were gone. But it's like right before that, it's like they almost knew it was there, and they were just like getting away from it or something. Like, "Oh shit, these people can't see this." I mean, we started raising elevation and speed rapidly. So
Damn.
yeah, I don't know, but
That's
so
cool.
that's part of the reason I'm glued out the window half the time.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway, any last
Thanks
things you
for having
wanna
me.
add before we go?
There was just kind of one thing I wanted to like leave people with. So as we're moving along and we're evolving, we're constantly evolving and understanding more things, moving towards truth. I would like to point out, for some reason, I don't know why, I feel guided to point out that everything we think is evil isn't necessarily evil. There is benevolence in Luciferianism. Believe it or not, conduct things for humanity to learn from. And now as we change the tides, you could see some, but a lot of these people probably not in the public eye. So maybe, it's besides the point, but not everything is as it appears. Anybody could just, you could think something about somebody and then find out that it was, just got to keep your mind open. Same thing, with wolves in sheep's clothing, obviously. But I think we're so focused on the wolves in sheep's clothing that we're not really seeing the unicorns in wolves' clothing, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. And we're so quick to say what we don't like. Maybe say like what we do like,
Yeah, absolutely.
That meme, there was a meme recently, promote what you love instead of bash what you hate.
Yeah.
Like focus on what you love and what brings you joy rather than like what you hate.
Yeah.
Like acknowledge it, but don't, like I said earlier, acknowledge it, but don't put all your energy and focus onto it.
Yeah, I mean, physics is proving, Brooks Agnew, I've seen him speak and present twice. He'll be at 5D events also. Physics is proving, which we already know this is always the case, that your thoughts are making up your reality. So if you're focused on what you hate,
you're gonna get
it's human nature. If you want something bad enough, you'll get it. You'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
However it works out, you can do it if you really want to.
Yeah, if you really want to, and it's in your journey, and you follow your heart, and it feels good. Yeah.
You might not have a job or a car or anything, but God damn it, I'm going to this Hawaii trip. I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And you'll end up down there, and
swim there.
But it's true though. That it's very true, and like you said, there's studies. It's proven.
It was just real quick. I'll share, because this whole process I'm sharing a lot. But I was in Sedona and I was really running out of savings, and I'm like, what? Because my ear's ringing. That's funny. I was like, I said out loud, sound technology, like speak to your people. I was just sitting in the car, and I was like, okay, so I know that I'm guided to not get a job because there's a lot of blockages that would come in the way whenever I try to get a job, a real job, you know, a matrix job.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, not the route. Okay, got it. And then, you know, I've been driving for Lyft, but lately they're like, nope, you're not doing that today. I'm like, okay, got it. But you know, there's not too much money coming in. So what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And they said, in Sedona is such an amazing area because you get messages like right away. And they said, quote, money mimics something in the artificial reality, in the 3D reality. So they said, focus on what money mimics and cultivate more of that. And so I was meditating on it. And then, but you know, my earthly self was still like, no, but I want to go out and drive for Lyft. And then they're like, you're not, you're going to sit. And now that's why the past few days I've just been doing a lot of productions, a lot of speaking, because this is what the opportunity cost is when I go out and do something that's wasting my time and everyone else's time when I should be doing this.
Yeah. And this isn't wasting anyone's time if they're listening.
I was really guided to have so much faith because I'm like, yo, I'm real uncomfortable right now. And then I was feeling better when I was like, okay, that's okay. Like there are things we can do. There's money we can go get. And then it was like not working out. And I was like, okay, but for real though. Yep. And it's working out. I mean, you have the faith. It's amazing how well you're taken care of when you are just really following your heart and like doing what you're supposed to be doing.
If you're on your soul mission, if you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, the money just happens. It just shows up. It's just there. It works out. Yeah. I'm telling you, it seems like money just like will appear in your bank account or something. I don't understand, but because I've stressed out so much about this in the past, and you know, the synchronicities, the numbers, and you look up the numbers and they tell you, don't worry about the money. We got you, you know, give that stress to your guides, do what you're doing, and it'll all work out. And that happened with the Hawaii trip. I was real worried about it, and everything worked out perfectly. So
yeah. And there's money, there's random places money can be. I mean, I put $10 in an app 2 years ago. It was a stock market app, and they were like, you have $150. I was like, what? That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. You know, I had retirement money from a job I had when I was 17, like just held up in New York State. And my friend was like, hey, you have money here. I was like, oh, like $800. Like, whoa, like that. This was money kind of everywhere randomly, maybe that your higher self or you set up for yourself like later on. And that was so I got another message this morning, and they said all we have to do is wake up a little bit and be open to the possibilities, and then the possibilities are going to present themselves. So
just be open to it. Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
We're not in Kansas anymore. With the amount of stuff I'm getting and being guided to do, we're definitely not in Kansas anymore.
No.
I'm in Kansas physically.
You're
Oh, that's good. That's funny.
Man, I bet it feels
so if I ever move, I can actually say that, and it's double.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Listen, I'm not in Kansas anymore. I know this shit.
Yeah.
That's what you could tell people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're never gonna stop talking if we don't stop talking. So.
Thanks, guys.
It was fun. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Have a good night, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you very soon. So.
Yeah, definitely. Have fun in Hawaii.
Yes, thank you. And
Yeah,
good luck,
Tyler.
Good luck in Vegas for your.
Yeah,
good luck in
thank you.
Yeah. Is that going to be recorded?
I think I'm going to have James Rink record it. Little does he know I am volunteering him to record it for me.
Well, there you go. Well, you should definitely post that if you can. I mean, if they don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, because I'm all about free information. I'm like, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there.
I'd love to see it. Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night. It was great talking to you.
I do have free tickets if you guys want or know anybody who wants them.
Oh, that's really good to know. Actually, might hit you up for that.
When are the dates?
April 19th through the 21st.
I'll be just
Tempting.
getting back from Hawaii, but Aaron, you might be able to fly out there
Yeah, or it might be cheaper to drive.
or
Yeah.
drive, whatever.
Yeah, I have free tickets. I have tons of them because the producer was just like, "Fuck it, give them away for free."
Really?
That's really cool, though.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then she just told you what it takes to sleep in the car, so you don't got to really worry about a place to stay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with
Super
that.
comfy.
All right, guys,
Might
we'll
have
talk to you
to-
later.
All right, talk to you later.
Talk to you
See ya.
later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
I'm going live. Check it out.
All right.
Yeah, because I'm doing every night around the same time because I'm getting shadow banned. So
Oh yeah.
8:00 every night now, Monday through Friday.
Oh, damn. Okay.
8
Well,
Central Time.
So you've been
might
going
have
live
to-
for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm late.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
well.
check you later.
All right. See you later. Good night.
Bye.